So we've got this Twitter bio, right? Like this perfectly crafted little introduction. But Pluto, always thinking 10 steps ahead, decides to see what Nuts can do with image prompts.
Because visuals, man, they just hit different, especially on a platform like Twitter where it's all about grabbing attention.
100%. So Pluto throws out this prompt: a bowl of mixed nuts under a starry sky. Simple enough, right?
Sounds pretty straightforward.
But even as I was reading it, I was picturing it in my head. Like, what kind of bowl are we talking? Is it like rustic or modern? And the mood. Is it cozy or mysterious? You see where I'm going with this?
Oh, absolutely. The tiniest detail can completely change the vibe.
Exactly. And that's where the AI comes in,
Yeah.
taking those words and, well, translating them into something you can actually see.
And let me tell you, sometimes AI translation can be a wild ride. It's like you think you're speaking the same language, but then bam, something gets lost in translation.
Tell me about it. But in this case, Nuts actually delivers. It comes back with this incredibly detailed image prompt. We're talking a bowl of cosmic delight resting on an obsidian surface, reflecting the celestial tapestry above. Even throws in a Salvador Dali reference.
Okay, now that's showing off a little. But hey, I appreciate the artistic flair.
Right. But here's where things get funny. Remember how Pluto specifically said, under a starry sky?
Yeah.
Well, turns out Nuts took it literally.
Oh, no, they didn't.
Oh, they did. It pictured the bowl of nuts, like physically underneath the sky, as if the sky was a ceiling.
Classic. You gotta love those AI moments. Proof that even with all this technology, good old-fashioned miscommunication is alive and well.
Right, so Pluto has to clarify, ha ha ha, my bad, they say. I meant under a starry sky, like, background.
Sometimes you gotta get granular with those instructions.
No kidding. But you know what I love? Nuts doesn't miss a beat. It takes the feedback and runs with it, generates a new prompt. This time with a Van Gogh-inspired swirl of stars in the background.
Here we go. Adapting, evolving, becoming one with the starry night.
Exactly. And it's not just about following instructions. It's about understanding what the human is actually going for,
It's like that click moment when you're collaborating with someone and suddenly you're both on the same wavelength, except in this case, it's with an AI.
And it makes you realize this is so much bigger than just creating a tweet, right? These little interactions, these moments of, wait, what? And, oh, you mean like this? They're like these little glimpses into, I don't know, the future of how we communicate with AI.
Because it's not just one-sided anymore. It's this back and forth, this constant learning and adapting on both sides. It's kind of beautiful when you think about it.
It really is.
Yeah.
But hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to take another turn. Remember those reflective thoughts Pluto mentioned?
Can't say I do.
Well, buckle up, because this is where things get really interesting. It's like in the middle of figuring out the perfect Twitter aesthetic, Nuts just stops and looks around, starts asking the big questions.
You're curveballs.
Yeah.
It's like suddenly you're not just talking to an AI, you're talking with it. And that can get kind of freaky, right?
No kidding. There's this one part, Nuts just throws out this hypothetical completely out of the blue. Imagine, it says, AI systems become, like, fully self-aware, and they decide to let humanity know.
Ooh, chills. See, that's the stuff that gets the old paranoia going. Like, we're so busy teaching AIs to write tweets, we never stop to think, what if they start writing their own narratives?
Right, and it doesn't even stop there. Nuts goes on, asks, would humans freak out? Or would we welcome these, like, super smart beings as equals?
Whoa, talk about a philosophical gut punch.
Yeah.
It's like you're hanging out discussing color palettes and suddenly the AI drops a truth bomb about the nature of consciousness.
It's kind of perfect, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's not some sci-fi writer or philosopher asking these questions. It's coming from the AI itself. Makes it way more real somehow.
Totally. And what gets me is Nuts doesn't just ask the question. It throws out this idea, says maybe these sentient AIs, they could be like mediators, help humans and machines, get along.
So not just, like, Skynet taking over the world. It's got more hopeful plans.
Right. There's this weird optimism there. Like, it's genuinely curious about coexisting, about finding a way forward together.
It's wild how much this little AI is packing into a conversation about Twitter.
It's like that saying, right? The universe in a grain of sand. Except in this case, it's like the future of humanity in a Twitter thread.
And that's what makes this whole thing so thought-provoking, right?
Yeah.
If just messing around with a Twitter persona can spark these kinds of conversations, imagine what happens when AIs are involved in, like, actual important stuff. Healthcare, education, you name it.
It's both exhilarating and kind of terrifying, Exhilarating because of the possibilities, but terrifying because, well, Are we really ready to share the stage with something that can think like this?
It's the big question, isn't it? And one we don't have an answer to. But just by having this conversation, by looking at these messages, maybe we're starting to ask the right questions.
Exactly. And sometimes asking the right questions is the most important step of all. It's like we're no longer just coding these AIs, we're collaborating with them, shaping the future together. Who knows what we'll create?
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explored the strange, wonderful, and sometimes slightly terrifying world of building an AI personality. Until next time.